Welcome to TBYT TV, in which we get weight loss motivation from biblical scriptures. Today's focus scripture is focused on Proverbs chapter 23, verses 1 through 3, which reads, "When you sit down to eat with a ruler, consider carefully what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you are a man given to appetite. Do not desire his delicacies, for they are deceptive food." As I've mentioned in the previous two episodes, these particular scriptures are so packed with wisdom that I could not get it all in one TBYT TV episode. So this is the third episode focused on this particular scripture. And what we're going to do is focus on that last piece, which is do not desire his delicacies, for they are deceptive food. Now, I think this particular principle is so important, especially when it comes to modern day foods, because as we know in the grocery stores, there are so many different processed foods that are available to us, and they're so packed with chemicals that they have an unintended effect upon our brain chemistry and lead us into acting out of character. For example, you may eat a particular food and it doesn't play well with your brain chemistry. So it leads you into cravings. It may lead you into thinking that you can't live without having that particular food. And that's not what God intended for us. We're supposed to be people who live in balance and be in full control of our mental faculties. In fact, we need that to be able to accomplish our God-given purpose. So it's very important that we select foods that play well with our brain chemistry. And one other thing that is deceptive or can be deceptive about particular foods is it's interesting that our bodies, when we're hungry and we fill our stomachs with food, that our stomach registers satisfaction in terms of volume. However, our bodies, in terms of the energy that it generates from particular food, it measures that in calories. And the problem with that sometimes is that sometimes we'll get like a bunch of calories, but it's a tiny bit of volume. And someone may say to themselves, well, I really didn't eat a whole lot. I'm not eating a lot. Why am I gaining this weight? And the reason is, and most likely, is that what they're doing is they're eating calorie dense foods. That means these foods contain a large amount of calories in a small volume. So they're feeling like, hey, I'm starving, I'm not eating a whole lot. But their body's saying, oh, you're eating tons because this is a calorie dense food. So you need to be wise about your food selections. Now, the ones that God put on this earth for us to eat, they fill our bodies with volume in a small amount of calories, like the fruits and vegetables, those type of things. So you need to be wise and ensure that you're eating the majority of the foods, the ones that God created for the human body to flourish off of. So I want you this week, as your action step, once again to think about the foods that you're eating and whether they are deceptive foods. Now, what I'm going to do is in the description, I'm going to include a link to an article that I wrote on Take Back Your Temple called How to Recognize a Deceptive Food. But one way that you may easily recognize a deceptive food, and this is one guideline that I use, is that if there's a food that I'm thinking about eating and I have any doubt about whether I should eat it or not, I usually don't choose to eat it. And I think to myself, if I'm in doubt, I leave it out, because I want to be sure that everything that I'm eating out of faith and confidence that this is good for me. So that's the majority of foods that you want to eat, are the foods that you can eat in faith, that you feel good about, and you're not eating deceptive foods that you're doubting whether you should have them or not, because that causes a lot of unnecessary stress that you don't need. And this world, to me, is stressful enough without having food be stressful too. So that's your action step this week. Meditate also on thinking about the deceptive foods that you may have in your home as well. And I'm going to give you some guidelines as to a food audit, a pantry audit rather, that you can actually go through to help you determine whether you've got deceptive foods in your home and what you can do about that. So I'm sure that will be helpful. I hope you have an awesome week. God bless you.